pop in, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We're live. What's up, everybody? Dan Koob,
What's
Matt
up?
Modi. We call that a rolling start. We've got 2 baseball games today. Matt, I'm curious for your thoughts on the Yrfi Nrfi for both Rockies Nationals and Marlins Rays. Traditionally, I will run down my thoughts, and then you just go nope and take the other side. So let's reverse it today. You tell me what you think.
So I am actually on the opposite side on both of yours. So
I
I'm
haven't told
on.
you what I'm picking yet.
I thought, is it not on the screen? Or are those
Uh,
just the are those
yes,
just the
it is
odds?
on. No,
Okay.
it is on. It is on
Okay.
the
I
screen.
was like, maybe I'm just dumb.
No, I'm dumb.
Yeah. So I am on the Yrfi for the Rockies Nats. Admittedly, like a lot of the stats that you look at don't necessarily favor the Yrfi. Jake Irvin pitching for the Nats isn't horrible in the first inning. Like looking up, he's got like a 3.86 ERA in the first. He started 16 games, like 260 average, WOBA of 348. So like those numbers aren't terrible. He's also not a great pitcher, so he might just be good in the first inning. Like he's got an ERA of 4.87 and an expected ERA of 5.14, which is really bad. And then the pitching matchup for the Rockies, it's like Peter Lambert, who is just an opener, only started 2 games, but hasn't given up a run in either of those 2. But again,
Yeah.
like not a good pitcher, 5.49 ERA and a 5.14, excuse me, expected ERA. Like the offense is not at Coors Field, aren't obviously as good, but I did look at the weather. It is a positive script for runs to be scored. So I went with the Yrfi on this one, but admittedly not super confident about it. Not a ton of conviction on this one.
Well, I mean, if you just follow trends, which I know we don't typically do here, but both teams are in the top 6 in the MLB in Yrfi. Colorado, maybe we get stats and info on this. Colorado is right now in the last 10 games 9-1 to the Yrfi, which is
That's
insane.
crazy. Yeah,
Just
that's
absolutely
crazy.
insane. You mentioned Lambert. Yeah, he's been lights out though his last 2 outings, 8 innings, 5 hits, 0 earned. Jake Irvin, not that good. In first innings, he's allowing a 263 batting average against, 6 earned, 3 home runs, and 14 first innings. Something I did find interesting: the Rockies are changing their order. So Ezekiel Tovar is replacing Jurickson Profar. He's pretty light hitting, and he doesn't walk. He's got an on-base percentage around like 280. So like around the same percentage that Kyle Schwarber gets on base, except Schwarber's going to have 45 home runs.
Yeah.
Tovar will not hit 45 home runs this year. Doesn't hit for power, doesn't really get on base. And when he gets there, he hasn't scored a ton of runs either. That just may be a small sample size. So those are the reasons I like the Nrfi here. The Nrfi I have at minus 104. Admittedly, not the best price in New Jersey, but I want to get paid by the books. So here.
At least he's honest.
That game starts in 1 minute. 12:10 is Marlins and Rays. The Yrfi is plus 113. The Nrfi minus 127. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't love the juice on the Nrfi, but I just couldn't get behind taking yes run in this. The Marlins are like the #1 most Nrfi friendly team in the MLB. The Rays have former Philly Zach Eflin pitching. Just a quick side note, between Eflin and Nick Pivetta, truly devastating stuff.
Well, how about Eflin's? I was blown away by Eflin's stats. I think I still have them up. If not, I'm going to pull them up real quick. Okay. Eflin has, in all of his starts this season, 16 walks and 113 strikeouts.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Like, whatever the Rays pitching staff does to get these dudes ready is unbelievable. He is a completely different pitcher in Tampa Bay.
I know.
It's wild.
I know.
And frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And so is I mean, Pavetta's not whatever. We're not talking about the Red Sox, but same thing. Like he's been incredible recently. But Eflin at home, 10-2 to the Nrfi. Sandy Alcantara, 16-4 overall to the Nrfi. Admittedly, not as good away. He's 7-4, but still, Alcantara kind of figured some stuff out. He had a rough year, and then I saw like right around the All-Star break, someone, I forget who, some ESPN or MLB insider tweeted out that he like changed up his mechanics a little bit, and since he did that, he's been much better, both from like a strikeouts and just overall performance. So like it's chalky and it's juiced, but I could not get behind the yes run, even at the best odds that I could get were plus 120, which I didn't think that was necessarily worth it for me personally. So I went with the Yrfi on this one, or sorry, the Nrfi on this one.
Yeah. So I'm on the Yrfi, as you can see, the over half a run. Basically, this is a as close to a plus EV play as I could find. plus 113, better than most of the books in Jersey, including MGM, Bet365, Caesar, FanDuel, DraftKings, Barstool, etc. You mentioned the Marlins being the nerfiest team in all the land. 66-35 to the Nrfi. Their pitching staff has just been like unbelievable. I just think, are we overpricing this because Alcantara's just been who he is? Like, are we coasting on name recognition? He has gotten a little bit better, but his first inning has by far been his worst. 278 batting average against, 22 hits, 2 home runs, 8 earned. So you can touch him early. And I've just seen so much of Zach Eflin to know that he is pitching so much better than who he actually is. Like, I don't think this is the most optimized Zach Eflin you could possibly imagine. Not to say that the Marlins offense is amazing, other than their leadoff hitter, right? So I'm like hoping to scratch a run across here, and at plus 113, where most of the market is sitting at plus 100, I just like the value, and I'd rather not pay the juice if I have to make a bet on a Nrfi here, minus 127. So that's where I'm at. So quickly recap, I'm on the Nrfi and the Rockies Nationals, which has just started, and I'm on the Yrfi and Marlins Rays.
And I'm on the opposite on both of them.
There you go, head to head.
Yeah.
We'll see who's the better man.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Eflin's stats, like well, he's been in the MLB since 2016. Like, this is clearly the most outlier of all the years that he's had. Like, not even close.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that. I have all of his yearly pitching stats up, and it really is not even close. Like, disgustingly so.
I mean, he's only had 1 year sub 4 ERA, and that was 3.97. It's like as close to 4 as you can get. And then he's got like 5.54, 6.16, like some like just grotesque numbers.
Yeah,
but
I don't know how he's doing it. Again, I don't know what the Rays do. I just don't quite understand it. We have a special guest popping on from the Sauce Network. He is Kyle Kerms. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's going on?
What's up, Kyle?
You guys ready for a loaded Wednesday? I got the sharpest play of all time running right now.
Let's do it. What do we got?
First 5 under, Rockies, Nats. Everyone's looking at Peter Lambert and Jake Irvin and thinking, oh, automatic over. I think that game might be 0-0.
I'm on the Nrfi too, my friend. I'm on that Nrfi. Let's ride. You know who's not in the Nrfi? The guy to my right.
Well, you know, it's no secret that Matt doesn't know what he's doing. I saw him tweet out his starting lineup for a football team with Pokemon. He had Caterpie. He had Caterpie in the slot receiver.
Okay, now I'll take a lot of crap, but I will never accept my knowledge of Pokemon slander. That is something that I will not stand for. That will not fly.
No, it wasn't so much that you put a starting lineup of Pokemon. It was that you put Caterpie at slot receiver, which is just that's just a bad pick.
That's also factually incorrect. That's fake news.
I did not have Caterpie at slot.
Yeah, let me be clear.
I had him in the punting slot, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe as my punter.
Caterpie saw special teams only.
No,
yeah, he was
no way
starting
he's
right
touching
guard.
the field. He doesn't touch the field for my team. As we were saying, there's no way, or that everybody was saying that Irvin was going to get touched up. He immediately gives up a single, but there is one out. So we're up $1.50 right now on this the Nrfi, FYI.
Yeah, I'm not. The Rockies lineup is so bad against right-handed pitching recently that I'm not worried about a runner on first.
No, because we're going to get a double play here. Then that value is going to skyrocket.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a little less stakes on my bet because I got on my first 5 under 5.5.
Yeah.
So if they score a run right here, I'm not necessarily dead. You guys are with the nerve. Oh, you actually on the nerve. Did you say Matt had the Yrfi in this?
He does.
Come
indeed.
on.
Ooh, man. Nats catcher just took one right off the noggin.
Oh, yeah, I'm behind you. It just happened.
That's tough.
5.5 is a big number for first 5.
Well, it goes back to the narrative that Kyle was just saying. Everybody thinks these 2 pitchers are going to give it up. Lambert's been really good his last 2 starts. Before Kyle jumped on, we ran down the numbers. His last 2 starts, 8 innings, 5 hits, 0 earned.
Yeah, and since he moved, the thing was he was having a terrible season out of the bullpen. Then they moved him to the starting rotation, and he's put back-to-back good starts up. He's also got excellent – you know what? I have the graphic right here. I don't know if you mentioned his home-away splits, but they're really, really legit. Hold on. I have it right here. And none of this is going to matter. By the time I find it, they will have given up a run probably. 1 sec.
Meanwhile, the Rays and Marlins have begun.
Yes.
Luis Arraez almost just doubled down the left field line, but ruled foul, going up against Zach Eflin, who, Kyle, we were just saying, as Phillies fans, we cannot believe Zach Eflin is this quality of a starter.
Yeah.
Well, someone said it in the offseason. I forget who it was, but they made a point that Zach Eflin, Tampa has never paid a starting pitcher as high as Zach Eflin. This is not a team that pays guys like that. So the fact that they did that means like they had to have seen something. And Tampa Bay is known for being a pretty smart organization. So,
yeah, I agreed. But I guess my counter to that is I'm going to look up his deal. I'm trying to remember what he got. It was a pretty like mid-level.
Right. It
deal.
wasn't like it wasn't a bag breaker.
Yeah. Considering like what pitchers are going for in the market. Let's see. He got 3 years, like 40 million.
Oh, that is wow. I figured it was like way more than that the way people were talking.
Yeah, 3 years for 40 million. So that's like a mid-market deal, I would say, for a number 3 starter. I mean, actually, I think it's a discount considering the Phillies paid Tawan Walker like 20 million a year to be their third starter.
Yeah, that is he is overperforming at a crazy rate then at that price.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was that low. And when it comes to football and even NBA, I pay really close attention to the salary cap.
Yeah.
In baseball, I could care less because it's like I don't know the financial situation of these owners. There's no limit. Like, so it's if they want to spend all this money, I mean, there's no way for me to gauge. If when someone signs a quarterback, I can literally take that amount and weigh it against the cap and decide whether I think that's valuable. But we don't know how deep these people's pockets are.
Yeah, or with the Nets owner, we do know how deep they are, and they're basically limitless.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Matt Ishbia.
Pay
the tax like crazy.
Like people will be like, "Can you believe how much they pay Verlander and Scherzer?" Like, who cares?
Yeah,
like who cares?
Well, see, it does matter because now the Mets suck and they're trying to offload guys, but they can't because they're paying both those guys $40 million a year when they're paying them almost as much as their age. In millions.
Right. So I guess it would be a factor when it comes to potentially trading them. But even so, it's like, what's the point of trading even if we could just outbid everybody in free agency?
We're in the middle of the first between the Rockies and Nats. No score. Same deal here with Miami. Race, yep. We said going into this one, Miami's offense not that great. We're kind of relying on the Rays to push a run across, and we're seeing that now. So we're down 1750 on our Yrfi on Marlins Rays, but conversely up 1650 on Rockies National. So Matt, I know your heads up with me. You've got the opposite, but it looks like we're heading towards a null and void kind of day.
Yeah, a 1-in-1 day.
And I brought this up earlier. Peter Lambert. So on the season, not just in his last 2 starts, on the season, he's got an 8.10 ERA at Coors Field and a 7.23 FIP. Drops to a 2.79 away. Wow. So you just remove this man from Coors Field and he can actually pitch.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So the Rockies, you mentioned, made a change at the top of their lineup. And true to form, Ezekiel Tovar does nothing. So great scouting on my part there. So we're looking for the Nationals to do nothing, which would be great, and the Rays to get hitting. What do you make of the Rays start and then how they've kind of come back down to earth? I mean, I think they have said openly to like reporters, which is shocking, that this is the best team they've ever assembled. And now they've been surpassed by Baltimore.
Yeah. The Orioles, man, they're so good. They're like, I mean, I don't know how the Phillies came back and won yesterday. That was crazy, but the Orioles are a team that, luck. And yeah. Although I laughed at, I'm sure you saw this, the Orioles announcer was talking about like how bad Bryce has been. And then as he's finishing that sentence, Bryce hits one. I don't know if you saw that.
I love it. That's kind of like the Thom Brenneman call for Castellanos almost. Maybe not quite as bad, but
not quite as bad because
not quite as bad.
He wasn't getting fired after that, but
that's true.
But the truth is, the Rays, I believe, are 31-31 in their last 62 games, and it's important, especially in a sport like baseball. But this applies to basketball too. It's important to just control your sample sizes because what the Rays were doing in April, it's almost meaningless as far as betting today's games. Sure. I don't care if a team was hitting lefties well in late April. I mean, it means nothing if they're not doing it now. So as far as the Rays go, obviously their record plays a part as far as their playoff standings, but as far as betting on a day-to-day basis, I really don't even care what their record is. I care how they're playing right now, which is pretty mediocre.
Yeah,
it's a great point.
For batter stats, I like to look at the past 14 days to kind of see how they've been performing recently. And then for pitchers, like for specifically player prop stuff, I go off the last 5 starts. Because like you said, what someone did, like Taijuan Walker and the other pitcher, Ranger Suarez, were horrible. And they're like at the beginning of the year for the Phillies. So their ERAs don't look that impressive, but they both have been pretty good recently. So it's not you're right. It's not like you can just look at their season long stats.
Well, I think to your point, I think the Phillies have won 11 of the last 10 Walker starts.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal.
Crazy.
Him and
11 of their last 10 is pretty impressive.
No, excuse me. Yeah, 10 of the last 11. Yeah, 11 of the last 10 would be hard to do, but if you can do it, I recommend.
That's dominant.
I recommend it. We are 2 outs away here, Colorado and Washington, from a Nrfi win. And Alcantara just completely mowing dudes down. He just made a barehanded play at first. That was unbelievable.
As you said that, I saw that play. It was nice.
All right, so it looks like we're gonna split here, Matt. Now here's an interesting thought process. So for an extra $9, we could buy a second share of the Yrfi. So you're basically hoping for a home run off Alcantara. I don't recommend it. I'm just throwing it out there. You could do it and lower your cost basis from $46.50 to like basically nothing. Can't do it anymore. Trading's been halted. So I assume there's like a ground out here or something.
I feel like with Nrfis, it's probably pretty difficult to get something in time, I would imagine, because it just moves. Like you said, I think you calculated what what even one strike is worth.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. I know you talked about it. I'm sure it's difficult to just get something in time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we, so much of what we do here for like full game markets, and Alcantara is out of the first inning. So Matt wins on a Nrfi, and I lose on a Yrfi there.
We got 2 outs in the other one.
So much of what we do is about like, trading out for fair value and everything like that. 2 outs now after a line out there for Rockies and Nationals.
He got the barrel in that though.
He did. But like to your point, Matt, in a market that moves this quickly, it's this volatile. Like you just got to ride the wave. There's like really no point. And again, like live betting in general, you should probably wait for timeouts, commercials, stuff like that. Like unless somebody hits like a double with 2 outs and like you see a $25, increase in your position and you're like, well, do I want to rely on the 8th hitter or 9th hitter to come through here? Like you're probably just staying. And even in that case, you're probably staying anyway. But I do think it's interesting if you can maximize your profit and your return just to do it. Looks like a ground out here. So 1-1. There you go. 1-1 day for both of us. Took 17 minutes for us to go 1-1.
I wish there was a third one. I feel like you always got to have an odd number.
What do you guys think? We got into an argument here at the office last night. What do you guys think? I said there's maybe 10 to 15 actual triples a year, and every single other triple is a double that's misplayed in the field.
Yeah, I think it depends on the ballpark, right? Like every triple at Citizens Bank Park is basically one that hits off the left center high wall and then is misplayed by the center fielder.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, how is that in the stat sheet recorded as a triple, 3 bases in your OPS stats, when really it's just the ball took a weird bounce off the wall? That shouldn't affect the stats.
Yeah, I guess like if it's actually misplayed by the outfielder, then it probably should be categorized as a double, then got on third with an error. But if it just is like takes a weird bounce, I feel like that should count as a triple because it's not like there was.
Well, what I'm saying is though. So what I'm saying is like it's weeks later, right? And we're just looking at stats, and that guy, his OPS stats, he's going to have an extra base in his for that triple. When really, if we're evaluating it, it shouldn't, because he shouldn't have an extra triple and an extra points in his OPS because the ball happened to take a weird bounce. I want to know actually how he's hitting. I feel like it's a little bit misleading.
I guess that's fair. Like for Trey Turner, who sucks but is getting a bunch of triples.
Right. Well, I mean, Trey Turner might be a guy who legs a few out, but Freddie Freeman had a triple a few days ago. Freddie Freeman, his old ass. And dude, this ball just like hit the wall and the fielder was like running towards the wall and they happened to hit the wall and then shoot back past him. So like it wasn't categorized an error because it was kind of just like bad luck on the outfielder part. But still, that's not a triple. In fact, if he played it right, it might have been a single. I don't know. I don't think there's such thing as triples. I think they're doubles that are misfielded.
Unless
yeah, but I mean, it goes back to like the scorekeeper too, right? Like you're more likely at home to get a generous scorekeeper,
which is bullshit.
Right? Totally. Like hits, errors, like all that nonsense. Like any in between play in the infield or the outfield, like it's always going to be a hit if you're at home. It's always going to be, depending on if you're offense or defense, right? Like you're always going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
I just think that's like baked into baseball. Unfortunately, that's just like how it is. I mean, I actually think your point is pretty interesting, though. I would say. Like what's the only true triple? Like a leadoff hitter hits one deep into the gap and they make it all the way around, or like you hit one so deep into left or right, down the line.
That's what I was going to say.
There has to come all the way over, but that's like kind of it.
It's like a slow rolling one that somehow makes it past the right fielder and just trickles directly into the corner. That's really the only probably true
right.
triple.
It can't be too hard. We found a couple because we went into it last night. We argued about this for about 40 minutes and we were like pulling up triples and highlights. And so like we did find a couple. Francisco Lindor had 2 triples like a week ago, and one was a legitimate triple. He hit it into the left center gap, but the center fielder was shading to the right because he was batting lefty. So it just like happened to go where no one was. But our conclusion, or at least mine, was he refused to agree with me based on what we watched. I'd say 9 out of every 10 triples is a double that didn't get played properly.
This is like is the dress green or blue?
Yeah.
Like, am I watching a triple? Or am I watching a double that's misplayed?
And I don't care if you don't, because the thing is, some of them, it's like the outfielder doesn't deserve an error if the ball happens to bounce in a weird way, or they didn't play it perfectly off the wall. I don't think they deserve an error. My only concern is when you put a triple in the stat sheet, that fucks with his stats. So that better not be a home run.
From who?
No, it's a double for the Rockies.
Yep, Rockies double to right center.
Come on, Irvin, get your shit together.
Maybe he could have, if he legged that out, could have been a real triple.
No.
Took his damn time.
No such thing.
I like this idea though. Let me get your guys' thoughts real quick, and then we'll hop off. Today is for most teams switching sports here. The first day of training camp, and I'm just asking because I'm very curious. As a former reporter who used to cover training camps, how much do you guys love? This guy looks incredible. Day one, best shape of his life. Get back in action. Can you believe this play against Air? Looks great in shorts. How much do you value that? How great is that as you're going through Twitter, now called X?
So how much do I value it? 0. How much do I enjoy it? 100. I think
0. Come on.
No, there's nothing more
the lowest
exciting.
hanging fruit ever.
Oh, I eat it up. I eat up the low hanging fruit. Please. It's like the wet blankets out there that are like, who cares that training camp and preseason wake me up until week 1? It's like, do you hate puppies? Do you like just not like sunshine? Are you just angry at the world?
There's no Colorado.
One inning lead.
Noted puppy lover. Okay. I think it is the dumbest shit every single season. Oh, well, Aaron Rodgers completed 8 of 10 red zone passes against the 5th team defense, and some guy can't even carry his jock. Like, I don't care. I respect they have jobs to do. Obviously, I used to do it. I used to be in the mud and all that stuff. Find something more interesting to talk about. It's day 1. Week 3, totally get it. Give me the backstory about the guy who was sleeping in his car 3 years ago. That's fine. I get it. Day 1, I don't need that nonsense.
I am definitely what Matt would describe as a wet blanket. I don't understand the emotional appeal with sports. I don't care at all about what anything once the game ends. I could care less what a player tweets. I don't even follow players. I don't care. I have no interest. Like, I have my relationship with professional athletes. Like, I don't hold these guys up on pedestals. It's like similar to
you shouldn't
how I feel about like racehorses. Like, as soon as it's over, I don't care what they do, what they say, who they vote for. I really don't care.
Horses?
I don't care about like perfect example. I was watching. We were laughing about this. I was watching. It was in the Knicks Heat series, and Josh Hart and Kyle Lowry were like waiting for the ball to be inbounded.
There's a run for the Marlins.
Yep. Wow. And it's Josh Hart and Kyle Lowry were like waiting for the ball to be inbounded, and Josh Hart was like, "What's up, man? How are your kids?" He's like, "Everything's good." And he was like mic'd up, I guess. And the announcers and everyone on Twitter was like, "Wow, you just love to see that. You just absolutely love this." Like, what? He asked about his kid. Relax. Why does everything have to be so emotional? He said, how are the kids doing? It's not that serious. And people are just crazy to me.
I think you're tapping into something, Kyle, that is like, it pays to be crazy opinionated one way or the other. And we always see it. So like everyone has to have an opinion on something.
It's so crazy.
Because the other side of that is, I can't believe he's not a competitor. Why would you talk about another man's kids on the floor? You're trying to win a basketball game. It's like both sides are ridiculous. Like, both of you, shut up.
They know each other. They were standing next to each other. He did a very friendly greet. Like, who cares?
Well, I love like baseball, right? Guy hits a single and he like daps up the first baseman and they're laughing and they're covering their mouths with their gloves and talking, and everyone's like, I can't believe they're so cordial. It's like, yeah, well, maybe they both were in the minor leagues for 5 years together.
Right.
So like they know each other. Also, who cares? Like,
exactly. I could care less. As soon as the game ends, I could care less. I could care less. I won't watch an all-star game. I don't watch any preseason. I could care less.
The only thing I will take issue with is I don't consider them horses.
No, I didn't mean I was okay. So I was comparing my thoughts of them,
I know.
Not like literally comparing them to that.
And I believe me, I am like overly pro player in most of these situations, definitely for football. But yeah, their day to day, I could care less.
Well, I mean, I'm pro player in the way of
get your money.
Like, yeah, players' rights, hold out for your contract, whatever you got to do. I don't have any negative feelings to the players. My thoughts are more on the people that care about these players. Freak me out. Like, it's almost like I don't know how these NFL players or NBA players do it, man. People like stalk them and are so obsessed with everything they say. I just like watching you play basketball and football. And the game's over. Go live your life. I could care less what you're doing. If they sat next to me on an airplane, I wouldn't even say hi. Like, I don't know you. I like watching you play football. That's it.
I once sat next to, I should say, a row from Maury Spates on a commercial flight. On a commercial flight in coach to Gainesville, Florida.
That had to be tough on his legs, man.
He's 7 feet tall. I mean, imagine sitting there like,
your knees are at your
Maurice Spates in coach.
You basically have to be sitting cannonball in a cannonball post the whole flight.
I was like, do you want the aisle? Like, I'll give you the aisle. It's fine. Like, I can sneak into a window.
That's crazy.
Well, that's it, guys. Much appreciated. Kyle, great to have you on a Sport Trade live stream for the first time. We've been talking about it forever, but I'm happy to hang out with you and talk a little nonsense.
Yeah. I'm excited for when we get the current holdings things under the picture, because I think we can put some good ones on with that.
Yeah, talking about battle bets. We're undergoing a little bit of a reno there.
Cool.
Hopefully we'll have that up and running pretty soon. I was talking to our guy Davis Weir. He's the man who is restructuring that whole thing. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll have like a really good draft of that, and then we can kind of get that thing rolling with the guys from the Sauce Network. So it would be great. Matt, big news in Matt Modai's world. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter. Why don't you plug the new venture here, the new pod?
Yeah, so basically we did it for fun for the past year, just to kind of F around and talk to each other about basketball. Now we're officially doing it. I guess I should say what it is. It's an NBA show called The Give and Go Show. Me and 2 childhood friends from Durwood, Maryland. Everybody knows where Durwood is in Maryland, obviously. NBA show, live stream Wednesdays at 8:30 Eastern. Going to be talking NBA, not as betting specific as people like my following would expect, but yeah, like going a whole new show format, all that good stuff. Very exciting.
So this is Wednesday nights?
Wednesday nights, 8:30 Eastern, The Give and Go Show. And
does it start during the season, or are you doing off-season stuff?
Starting tonight. This will be our first episode.
Oh, shit. All right.
The new will be tonight, yeah. We're working out some kinks. We brought on a new producer, and when I say that, I mean like someone has never produced anything, is learning on the fly, so you got to start that in the off season.
Love it.
The season rolls around, you understand what people are doing.
I want first episode to be you explaining how you could put Caterpie at slot receiver.
I'm more curious about what is the equivalent of a dong in basketball.
See that? So it's a first. So I got football. It's tater time. MLB dong. see, I feel like the equivalent's got to be first basket, but I'm working on a pun. I don't have a pun there. There's something around who finishes first. I feel like there's something to be done there.
All right, thanks for coming on the show, Matt. Jesus, this is a family feed. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, wait, that's what he meant by that? I was like, I must have misunderstood him.
You're like Tommy talking, us about, hey, this is a family website. I'm talking about who scores the basket first, who finishes their first basket.
No, you're not.
You have a child, Dan. Come on,
gentlemen. Thanks for joining, Kyle, Matt. Thanks for hanging out. We went 1-1, so we basically just split the day. No profits to be had, basically. Obviously, be here and there depending on price. But thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Dan, thanks for having me. See you guys.